I think we just found out which team in Southern California is the best after the latest Dodger win. Hey, this is Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 13% of you that have subscribed, but 86% of you, the ones that are watching these videos, you got to make sure to subscribe. Help a couple awesome Dodger fans. Me and Brad J are bringing you everyday Dodger content. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our awesome videos. Let's get right into it. Of course, the Dodgers got a big W today against the Angels. Yes, the Freeway Series rivals. A 6-2 win today. Extra innings. That's right. I took extra innings to beat the Angels. But in the end, the Dodgers just definitely showed that they're a better team, throughout. As we know, there was a lot of hoopla, a lot of talking points going into this series, into this short 2-game series. And that was all because of Shohei Ohtani and, the kind of reception that he was going to receive in today's game. I think that's what everybody was really anticipating. But it ended up being more about the actual game itself. It ended up being a very competitive game. It ended up being one of those tight Dodgers-Angels games that, of course, has historically been the case. Both teams always play tough matchups, usually when both teams play. I don't know if you guys recall, remember when the Dodgers defeated the Angels without getting a base hit. That for me is the my favorite Dodger-Angel rivalry moment. Imagine the Dodgers winning the ball game without picking up a base hit. Definitely an awesome memory. Well, tonight we definitely had some pretty cool base hits. It was not like that at all. Although it was a pretty tight pitching matchup. You look at the final box score for our Dodgers. You look at the the offense that was put out tonight. There wasn't much there, right? Ohtani only had that triple early on, RBI triple. Then Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts had a couple hits, and that was about it. Miguel Rojas had a big hit later in the game as well. RBI, of course, RBI hit to give the Dodgers the lead there in the 10th inning. But outside of that, there wasn't really much there offensively. Reed Detmers pitched very well for the Angels. And, our guy as well, Walker Buehler, what a great game. He had a couple mistakes. Gotta say that he did have a couple mistakes, of course, that led to 2 home runs. He has now given up 13 home runs this season, which is definitely a concern. But he lasted 5 innings. He only walked 2 batters, and he had 6 strikeouts. So this was actually one of the best games for Walker Buehler this season, considering the little mistakes that he had in the game. He ended up kind of, being able to settle himself down and go get some quality innings, some good outs. He was able to, of course, let's be honest, he was facing a pretty weak lineup in the Angels, basically a AAA ball club at this point. A lot of these players won't be in Major League Baseball in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, that's the honest truth. A lot of these guys probably won't make it. So it was expected for Walker Buehler to have a dominant, a good performance, right? I mean, that's what I think everybody. I know Brad talked about it in his show earlier today, talking about how he thought that Walker was going to have a good game tonight, right? I didn't even get a chance to talk about Walker today because we had the big story with Ohtani, which we're gonna get into that in a bit. But let's focus on Walker, who had a good game today. Pitched very well. Was surprised to see that. There was, like I said, some mistakes, but he looked confident out there. He looked like he had control over this game, which is, I think, something we haven't seen from Walker, unfortunately, in a lot of his games this year. He just looks a little bit out of sorts, like he doesn't have the confidence to throw the next pitch. But today, he looked like the pitches were, hitting the strike zone. I noticed that he was using the fastball a little bit more, which is good to see. I mean, it's kind of like, it's very similar to what we saw with Jack Flaherty, right? A little bit shaky in the first games that he pitched, but then he kind of figured it out as he went along, and that's what we saw today with Walker Buehler. Maybe something we're going to see, kind of losing my dictionary here, my brain dictionary on what word I want to use, but maybe the next, I don't know, maybe a prediction. I'm totally losing my words here in my brain. But anyway, maybe with Walker Buehler, this is what we're going to see next, right? We're going to see a pitcher that's going to be more in control, that's going to be, looking to be more confident in his starts, and hopefully that's what we see the next few games for sure. with Walker Buehler, right? Hopefully in his next few starts, we can see a continuation. That's where I want to use. Maybe we're going to see a continuation of this in the next few starts, right? Something that he could build on from this game, right? I mean, that's what I think everybody's hoping for, that Walker Buehler can kind of build on the start that he had today and use it against some more quality opponents. I mean, look at the Dodgers' schedule. They got the toughest schedule out of all the teams fighting for that National League West title. They got the toughest schedule. I mean, it all starts out next weekend. They're going to take on the Guardians. The Cubs, got to beat the Cubs, right? But then they got the Braves next weekend. That's going to be tough. So there's tough games ahead. And that's where Walker Buehler, if he gets a shot to pitch against one of those teams, I don't think he'll be lined up to pitch this weekend against the Guardians. So we're probably going to see him against the Cubs. And hopefully he can build on that. The Cubs are definitely a tougher club than the Angels. So, hopefully Buehler can, turn things around and he can make this playoff roster. I was listening to the AM 570 earlier today, our local sports station here in LA, and they were talking about, potentially Walker Buehler fighting for a playoff spot, on this team. And these next few starts, we're going to determine whether Walker Buehler gets a spot or not on the Dodgers ball club come playoff time. That is that's something that is kind of crazy to think, because Walker Buehler was an ace pitcher for the Dodgers just 3 years ago, and now he's fighting for a spot on this team, to make the team in the playoffs. So tonight he made a strong case that he does belong on the team come playoff time, and hopefully in the next few starts he can continue to prove that. Although with all the injuries the Dodgers have, they might have to put him on the roster whether they like it or not, just with the amount of unfortunate pitching rotation injuries that the Dodgers have had. And also I wanted to highlight for today's game, look at the bullpen, man. I mean, look at all those zeros. That's what we want to see. Everybody contributed tonight. Daniel Hudson, Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Michael Kopech, Ryan Brazier. I pronounce his name right. I've always had trouble with that name. But anyway, everybody contributed tonight. Everybody had a good night tonight. Yes, Daniel Hudson ran into some issues, but everybody out there, was doing their job, and that's what we want to see. We want to see our bullpen, have a good game for sure, and that's what the Dodgers brought in tonight. So great team pitching performance against, of course, the Angels. Outside of the two errors from Walker Buehler, not errors, I should say two mistakes that Walker Buehler made on pitches that led to home runs. Pretty much a pretty clean game, to say the least. Now, who was the big hero tonight? Well, it was Mookie Betts. Yes, it was Mookie Betts hitting, a huge home run in the 10th inning. And, which of course everybody is talking about is why was Shohei Ohtani walked to face Mookie Betts? I think that's what everybody's talking about. And, I'm going to have to disagree with Eric Karros on the broadcast. Eric Karros, doing the game for Spectrum Sports in LA, said that it was the right decision at the time. I'm going to disagree with that. I mean, look at Ohtani's numbers this year, hitting with runners in scoring position. It's like 211, and Mookie Betts is the best hitter in the National League when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position. He's hitting 368, 369. It was 368 at the time of the hit. That's the clip. That's the stat that they pulled up on the broadcast. It's probably 369, 370 after that one. After that bomb that he hit at Angel Stadium today. So yeah, Mookie Betts really gave the bullpen some cushion. That's what you want in these extra inning games, and that's what I don't know. I don't know what Ron Washington's thinking. Comment below. What do you think? I really think that they should have faced Ohtani. Yeah, Ohtani's the hottest hitter in baseball right now, but the runners in scoring position stat that Mookie Betts has, I do not want to face that in the 10th inning. And Mookie Betts made the Angels pay a pretty high price. He hit that home run on the first pitch. I mean, on the first pitch he hit it out on a pretty awful pitch down the middle from the Angels reliever. So yeah, just the disastrous managerial decision. Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, Eric Karros going to disagree with you on that one. But, let's talk a little bit about Ohtani. Got a pretty awesome reception. There were some comments. That's the wrong slide. There were some comments before today's game under what reception Shohei Ohtani was going to receive. And, it was a really positive reception. This is the kind of the first shot that we had prior to today's game. And yeah, it was a pretty positive reception. There was a standing ovation when Ohtani came up to bat. And, I think Angel fans are very appreciative of Ohtani in his time with the Angels. The Angels, of course, had a classless move of not even, acknowledging Ohtani officially. That was a pretty bad move on the Angels' part. We'll see if they maybe they'll change course and change it up for tomorrow's game. Maybe they'll. There was a lot of backlash, I think, for not, giving Ohtani an official moment, a honorable, celebration, right? I think that was not cool on the Angels' part, and I think a lot of fans, as you've seen in the previous video, are pretty upset about that. But anyway, the fans corrected it in a way, and they didn't boo Ohtani. Maybe I heard a little boos later on in the game, but the first ovation, I was at the ballpark tonight. I wasn't there, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard a lot of cheers tonight for Ohtani. I heard a lot. I saw a standing ovation. I saw everybody really pumped up to see him back at Angels Stadium in an official game. Yes, they were talking about on Angels radio that he was there for an exhibition match in March, exhibition game, but that doesn't mean anything. Nobody watches those games. This is the first game that people actually watched Ohtani play at Angels Stadium. And yeah, the Angels, there were some comments of people saying the Angels did a tribute video for Ohtani back in March, but I don't know. I didn't even watch that game. I don't watch spring training games that much. I'm probably going to be watching a lot of them next year because we're doing this channel, but normally, Mike Nelson is not watching spring training games. But going back to Ohtani, was a great reception. The fans, I really pay, respects to Angel fans. Great fan base. Like I mentioned before, nothing but respect for the fans of the Angels. I've got a lot of friends and family that root for them. And I've been to the ballpark many times growing up. Nothing but respect for the city of Anaheim and their fans. It's just that they have the worst owner in sports. Can't do much about that. Unfortunately, they don't have a good owner. Doesn't have a lot of class. Didn't even want to pay respects to one of the best Angels of all time. Just cannot believe it. Really, really classless move by Artie Moreno. Can't believe it. But anyway, glad to see that the fans kind of rectify that and cheer for Ohtani. Think that was great. No boos. Ohtani had an RBI triple. Didn't have any home runs or stolen bases. We're looking to see more of those because we want to see the first 50-50 player in Major League Baseball history, and we're going to be watching very closely the next few days, to say the least. So, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Go Dodgers.